Welcome to another observability clinic. What's new in Dynatrace? April 2023. We're talking about releases 263 and 264. This is a new format where every month we want to get you an update on everything that is happening in the Dynatrace world, because a lot of stuff is happening. I'm not doing this myself. Actually, this idea came from Berkan. Thank you so much, Berkan, for being here with me and for preparing most of the content. Quick introduction from your side, maybe, for the people that don't know you.
Sure. Thank you very much, Andy, and thank you for having me on the session. My name is Berkan Akbulut. I live in Barcelona, and I'm responsible as a lead technical product consultant in Dynatrace. I'm basically helping our customers with their technical Dynatrace questions.
Perfect. Then let's jump right into it. Do me a favor. Let's move to the next slide. So, folks,
Sure.
the way we do this on a basis now, with all these updates, we give you product updates, we give you updates on what's happening on the blog, some interesting blog posts, and then in the end, we wrap it up with docs, tutorials, and community. One more click before I pass it over to you. I just want to highlight that we have a lot of content out there. So we have content on university. We have content on YouTube. You see the QR codes here. They get you to the right place. Just highlighting some of the recent content, dashboarding, ownership. This is also a topic that Berkan will talk about, business events, and also Monaco. So every couple of weeks, you'll get new content on these channels, and you can watch them both either on YouTube or on Dynatrace University. But now, all the way, it's over to you, Berkan, because there's a lot of stuff we need to cover today.
Sure. Thank you very much. Yes, and before starting the updates from our ends, I would like to just show you that how our users can share their feedbacks or ask their questions to our community, to our teams. So basically, we have this Dynatrace community feedback channel where users can ask questions to our product management team directly. And again, they can share their opinions. And also, we always have our live-in product assistance service in our platform. With a simple click, you can just get a help in a couple of minutes from our Dynatrace One team. So yes, the product updates that basically for the latest 2 versions. Here that you can see is we roll out our clusters automatically on every 2 weeks, and these versions, the ones that we are focusing on today's session. And first, I would like to talk about the code level vulnerability analytics and application protection features. So these 2 features are now generally available for all of our customers. And here that you can see the overview of code level vulnerability analytics. And when you click on this view all code level vulnerabilities, you will see the details of this feature. Of course, that there are some slides I will explain to you through the presentation, but some of them I will show you on the demo environment. So this is one of the examples I would like to show you. It's how you can enable it, how you can access this feature, and basically why it's important for us to have it in our platform. So to go through the section now, I have everything ready with my machine. I simply go through our demo environments from here, and here, this is the section. So briefly, we need to enable these settings first from the environments, global settings. Under the settings menu, we have the application security part. To have this application protection and code level vulnerabilities, here you can see 2 different settings. The first one is for vulnerability analytics. If I click on the general settings parts, you will see in the second tab that with a just simple click, you can enable code level vulnerability analytics in your environments. So this is the first part. Just please be aware of that this consumes application security units. It would be really nice for you to talk with your account management team or reach out to our team for further details, just to make sure that you are aware of all the license-related topics. And it's the same settings for similar settings for the application protection. Here, this general settings parts, you can easily enable runtime application protection. So what happens exactly when we enable these features? As I show you on the slides, it's basically this overview of the code level vulnerabilities, and the details of each vulnerability here you will be able to see from your platform. Again, when I navigate to our demo environments, on the left menu, we have all these sections here that we are focusing on Dynatrace and application security, the one that you can see the two features available after you enable this feature. The first one is code level vulnerabilities. And here there are, for example, 4 vulnerabilities for the last 2 hours. Our environment is currently monitored. That's perfect. And if you click on the details, you basically get all the information that you need from the platform. And here are the details of the vulnerability, the risk assessments, which is really important, that especially in Dynatrace, because by using our AI engine and our Sparkscape topology, we can connect all the entities starting from end user to the code level, and also to show you the relationship between these entities and the effects, potential impacts by the vulnerability. When you click on these vulnerability details, of course, you can see and get all the information that you need. And as I mentioned, these are the entities that are affected by this vulnerability. But of course, this is a whole different topic. So therefore, I will just cut it off here. But this is how you can access and analyze the code level vulnerability features, analytics features. Do you have any question, Andy, here? Anything do you want me to?
No, it's really great that you show this. And folks, if you're new to application security and you want to learn more, there are already sessions on Dynatrace University and on the YouTube channel introducing Dynatrace AppSec in general. So if this is completely new to you, if you're not yet using application security from Dynatrace, then also check out the additional information. But this is really great, showing you if your code is calling functions that are vulnerable, and therefore we highlight this to you.
Okay, thank you very much. And same for the text from the security page. Again, if you go to this general menu, this is an overview of all of the text to your environment in real time. So here, that's for the last 2 hours. Again, as an example, we have 13 attacks. We have the source IP, we have the location, the entry point. So simply that you can get lots of details from each attack in your platform. Okay. And when I click on the attack details, the same approach that you will see then all the details that we collected by using our AI engine and by using our one agent, and all the other data that you feed at our environment. Here, basically, it's all clear in the attack details, even the process-related logs around the attack time step. So this is really that powerful feature that for us. Of course, I'm not maybe the security expert, but I can see the value as well that for all our users in Dynatrace.
And I think this is, you mentioned this all comes just with the Dynatrace one agent. You just need to enable those capabilities of the one agent, and you automatically get vulnerability detection and attack detection. Very cool.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to continue from the current slides. Let's skip these parts. Again, this is also explanation. You can find all these views in your slides. And if you need to go to details, you can simply watch the video and check from your platform. Okay. So now another feature I'd like to talk here, the new decode commands. The new decode command is the fieldsSummary is the one that we introduced in the latest version. It basically calculates the cardinality of field values that the specified field have. So this is the example you can see from the documentation, and it's basically you can directly copy and paste this query in your environment, and see how exactly it works. The main logic is that when you work with the large data sets, it will be using this command will improve your query performance to get the result what you need. And it's simply, as I said, for the users that will work with large data sets. So I'm just thinking that if we should show this from environment, but I think it's fine. So it's the same example here. We fetch the logs from there, and we have the entity host, and we have the sampling ratio here. Too important to apply this extrapolation to your query so that you can work, you can analyze your data sets here. And in this example, there was no sampling rate. So therefore, we saw exactly the real number of the values encountered here. Yep. Another command we introduce is the timeseries commands. It's basically a command that for you to apply, to load your data, apply filtering, aggregating metrics into a time series output. And again, this is a screenshot from our documentation. And I can also show you this example from the demo environments. I think I have the link directly here. And before jumping to the environment, do you have anything indeed that you want to say?
No, just as you're jumping over, a highlight also, we have a couple of tutorials already out there on DQL. The first ones we had out there is DQL in general and DPL, the Dynatrace parsing language, focusing on logs and BIS events. We also have planned to provide specific webinars and tutorials on DQL for time series.
Exactly. For the observability techniques or documentation, blog posts, so we have lots of resources. If you like to go into details, and basically it will be nice if you watch the content in there. Okay, I will just zoom in a little bit more. Here is an example of the time series commands. I will not go into details again, but simply that we are fetching the minimum and maximum host CPU usage here, and we are setting the default value for the null values. And for this time frame, from the last 4 days, we have 5 different data points, and we are showing this as a result in your query. Query results. Okay. Okay, now another update that we have in our self-monitoring dashboard. So briefly, we have problem notifications metric groups in our data explorer, and we introduce server notifications, problem notification duration recently in the latest version. This simply helps you to understand how long does it take of sending a notification, problem notification. This is also that I think is simple change, but it's powerful for you to see how long does it take for specific integrations. Again, I would like to show you from the environments quickly at what exactly we have. And I'm just simply navigating to tenants. From Observer and Explorer section, I click on Data Explorer. And the metric is that problem notification durations, okay? So these two metrics are important because I want this analysis, server self-monitoring analysis. So first, I would like to show the latest one. And if I split by the display name, here you can see all the integrations and that how long does it take to send the problem to the third-party tools. Okay. And if I go to the problem notifications, in general, here we can easily, let's see, and get all the details about that problem notification so that you don't need to check from your logs or from details of other tools, or it will be easy for you to understand if it was successful, how many retries that we did, the problem status, delivery status, and many more details from this simple metric. You can get all this data.
And I think this is truly important because I know many of you are integrating Dynatrace with your ecosystem, notification tools, ticketing tools, and you want to know if these integrations are actually working correctly. So now we show you how often do we call which particular integration. The split by response type is also really great. Maybe some of these tools are not always available, and then you can actually see that Dynatrace really tried and maybe not always succeeded. So great self-monitoring metrics, truly helpful.
Exactly. Okay. Okay, so another one is that, again, with our self-monitoring dashboards, or not dashboard, actually, it's with the Grail, there's now the possibility that you can query your Davis events or Davis problem as data in Grail. And the example that I'm going to show you in your environment as well is that really simple commands. So by applying this filter command and fetching these events, we can simply list the relevant events and problems in your query results. So this is, again, a simple change, but I think it's powerful for you to analyze your problems.
Yeah, and also use case, I've heard this a lot. Can I get my own view of the problems over time? I want to do my own analytics. I want to group problems based on certain types. So this is giving you access to this, and the raw data is great. And the power of TQL then allows you to do whatever you want with it. Yeah.
And to access again the logs, simply just go to the observe and explore section. Under logs, you can run this query easily. And here is the results. Lots of parameters, lots of data available here. For us, the important part is the Davis problem event guide, which we specified in this query. Okay, let's continue. So we have a new technology visualization filter for the process lists available on the host page. You just simply need to go to host page, and under that host page, you will see this bar. When you click on one of these colors, it will apply filtering automatically. So there is no need to go to the process, but it's simply a view change that you can see from your hosts. Additionally, we introduced the metrics and logs overview button available under the entity page. Again, I think it explains itself. When you go to the process entity and just click on this metrics and log analysis, and it will direct you to the relevant extension metrics, process logs, all the other process-related metrics in your environment. The next one is that all deprecated metrics with this pattern built in Cloud Kubernetes are now decommissioned. They are not removed from the metric registry, so the data, historical data, will still be available, but there will be no new data ingested in your platform. And if you type cloud.kubernetes in the data explorer, you can see all the deprecated metrics listed in there. The next one is that workload condition filter. I think we introduced this workload conditions in the 261. It was available in entity overview page. So now this workload conditions are also available for you to narrow down your analysis by applying this filter in your workloads page directly. Again, I think it explains itself, so there is no need to go to our demo environment. So I simply continue with the page unless you have a question or you have anything that you want to share.
No, it's all great. I think it's just great features, but as you said, I think some of them are self-explanatory. Just give them a try. If you're monitoring Kubernetes with Dynatrace, just keep going. It's good.
No, exactly. So the next one is that out-of-the-box alerts for workload resource metrics. They are now available under your Kubernetes settings. I think this can be important to show it from our platform, but in general, if you go to the settings of your cluster, at the bottom of the page, you will see this monitor workload resource metrics toggle. There. And if I jump on our tenants and under infrastructure, Kubernetes, I'm going to choose the GK cluster here. And from the top right of the page, you will see the settings button. When you click on this button here under monitoring settings, you will see the monitor workload resource metrics. Okay, so I think that's also that explains in general, basically these are the metrics that's coming from C Advisor, I think open source agent, as far as I remember, that about the CPU usage, throttling, memory consumption of that data, and you can see it in the workload level.
And also for Kubernetes in general, we've dedicated tutorials already on Kubernetes observability, and there's more coming, especially in June and July. Henrik Rexet will do a couple of tutorials focusing on Kubernetes observability, also covering OpenTelemetry and Prometheus and all the stuff that we do in the cloud native space.
Okay. Again, another one is with the Kubernetes settings. So now we have a new alert. the problematic node conditions we can see in node anomaly detection settings. Right now, we don't need to go to monitoring settings. We simply go to anomaly detection, and under this node configuration, the same process actually, you can see all these conditions that are available for alerting. When you enable this toggle, you will also see additional conditions where you need to where you want to set specific values for the configuration.
I think this is great for Kubernetes operators, right? You want to be notified if your nodes have a problem, but then you don't want to be notified maybe with a single issue, but you want to notify it smartly if there's a persistent issue. And so that's great settings. Thanks for covering that. It's really good.
You're welcome. Another one, again, Kubernetes. So now we introduce a new dynamic filter for dashboards. From your dashboard settings, if you go to the advanced settings under dynamic filters, you will see another criteria, which is called related Kubernetes service. This will help you to apply filtering in your dashboard text on the specific dashboards. So this is also a simple update from this release, the latest release. Another one with Kubernetes node problems. Now we are directly linking to the relevant node analysis page from the problem screen. So for the CPU request saturation on node problem, you can see that this was the embedded infrastructure component, and you can directly go through the entity by clicking on this tile. Okay, so on the data explorer sites, we introduced three different functionality, three different metrics. The first one is the correlated metrics. This was already covered that in one of our observability clinics with Thomas Diegelbecker. I think it's not easy to say his last name, but in the already did this that I think yesterday, maybe, I don't know. So I think this will be that a nice also functionality for you to check in details. So you were saying something.
Yeah, I was just saying, first of all, his last name is really hard to pronounce as a non-German speaker, Ziegelbecker. But truly, this is an amazing feature, especially if you are on a performance engineering or site reliability engineering side. That means you can pick any metric and you can then let the Davis analyzer show you what other metrics are correlating with this metric. So what are the leading indicators on why this metric is behaving that way? So we're doing the hard work here and walking through all the metrics that are correlating in the same time frame with that metric. Great stuff, and it's great that they build it into the data explorer.
And to show you on the environments, I will go to this link directly. And I already picked metrics, which is the response time, simple one, speed by services. When you click, for example, on this data point, here you will see the additional options. And the correlated metrics is here that we just need to enable. And we are analyzing lots of signals. Here we are just showing you which other signals or metrics we used to correlate these metric analysis. And on the right side, you can, okay, I'm just checking if there's a better way to show you all the signals, but it's okay. When you click on it, by the way, it will also add the metric automatically here. If you want to see it in the dashboards and in the chart itself, you can also do this like this. Okay,
that's pretty cool.
Okay, so.
And by the way, this feature has already been enabled in our unified analysis screen. So if you're on the new host screens, the workload screens in Kubernetes, you can already mark a certain time frame of a metric, and then it allows you to click on the analyze button, and basically does the same. Davis analyzer will go through all the metrics that are on that screen and will show you which ones are correlating in that selected time frame.
That's a very good point. Yep. I think we also introduced it as in one of the last releases.
Yeah, exactly.
As I remember. Another one is the baselines. we always get too many questions from our customers. What is the baseline here? How we calculate? If we can dashboard or not? If we can see it? That's I think this really useful for the teams. That's especially for the admins to show the power of the Dynatrace here, and how do we use this baseline calculation or the values in our platform. So now we have this Add Baseline button available next to the correlated metrics. I will also show you a quick example from the Data Explorer. If I copy and paste this link here, another server-side response time metric. Now we applied a filtering by service ID, and when you click on this button here, this will help you to understand the baseline values for this time frame. You can see the baseline maximum, minimum values to understand how it was changed recently. You can adjust your alerting configurations, maybe based on this data, or you can simply use this to share with your team to show how Dynatrace detects in your platform. Okay, and let's continue. By the way, I have two presentations open. I hope I can choose the right one all the time. So let's continue the same presentation, but the page can be different. Okay, the focus functionality. We can focus on a specific metric on the Data Explorer by clicking this button. It's a simple functionality that I can show you quickly from the demo environments. I will again navigate to the tenant and copy and paste this query. And now I have the response time, but for all the services, from this analysis, I see that this service that we have a high response time here. Now I just would like to see what exactly happening with this service. If you click on the focus, you see that you will only have this metric. So this will be also helpful for you, so that you don't need to create several metrics to do this analysis separately. So this focus button, it can be useful as a shortcut on the charts.
And all of these features have also been covered by Thomas, as we said, in the clinic. So if you want to see it in more detail, then check out the latest clinic on actionable dashboarding. It's called Actionable Dashboarding Update April 2023.
Okay. By the way, I haven't watched that video yet. I think it's yesterday. So I was just thinking, hopefully I don't think anything wrong in our session. But I think I'm keeping it really generic right now. So
yeah, it's all good.
I'm sure that Thomas is the right contact for all of us if you have any questions about that functionalities. Okay, so we have a default transformation in our platform. We can replace specific values, specified values, with the null results. And in this Data Explorer, we always use always as automatically suggestion. So this is the query example. We have this hot CPU usage metric. And when you use default 0 value as always, we will change the values with 0. But in this example, it was 3. So this is the reason that you see 3 in this chart. I will again show you a short example from the platform so that it will be clearer. If I go to this link directly, oh, sorry, it's a metric. Okay, if I go to this query directly, I just automated here. This is an example for us. This is the link that mobile sessions replay with application. And luckily, all the data points are, I think, null. So you can see that this values is 10. This is the transformation, default transformation. And without this transformation, all the values were, I think that 0 you will see. Here there was no value. But when you apply this transformation and set the value as 10, always, we will change the null values, the 0 values with 10 in your charts.
Very helpful.
Okay, another one is the improved host coverage infographic. This is you can think about the general overview of your host coverage, the number of hosts, you have application security functionality, the host that you monitor, and the one that excluded. So if you would like to see the details, this is the documentation. You can click on and check from the environment, but this view is basically available in your platform under the security overview page, by the way. Remediation tracking for processes. Now in security analysis, we can go into details of on the process level. So when you click on the vulnerabilities from your environments, you will always see the process groups were affected by that vulnerability. When you click on that process group, now we have this data on the process level as well. I will explain this from the environment a bit more detail. So if I navigate to this tenant, copy and paste this link, and this is one example that we have. By the way, to reach out to this page, it would be nice to show you here. This is the third-party vulnerabilities. And the vulnerability that I was focusing on is the S1180. Here, for this vulnerability, it's a good example because we have this Davis security score effect as well. You can see if there's public exposure or not, reachable, if there's any reachable data sets or not. So basically, it's all these potential threats that are available here. And when I click on the details from this section, you can see all process groups. And now we can go into details, we can go in process levels, and from that you can go to the code levels. But on the process level, this is the new functionality we have. For example, for this process, we have 4 different processes. For this process group, we have 4 different process group instances, processes. You can see all these processes and the status on the first detection. When I click on the details, we have more information about the components, the function and class information available here. The vulnerable functions are that use available here. The risk assessment. So basically, we have this data on the process level.
Super helpful. Yeah, especially again for security architects or anybody that is security aware. And remember, Dynatrace application security is not just there for continuous protection, but we also see more and more people shifting it left and using it as part of the delivery pipeline. So as you're pushing out new changes, look at Dynatrace and you can automatically detect vulnerabilities and therefore stop deployments before they become a security problem in production. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the next ones that we have in Grail, we introduce another comments. By the way, the order is almost exactly the same in our release notes. This is the reason why I switched from the Grail to security or problem, so it will be easy for you to also check from release notes. So this is the command, the data commands. It generates sample data during the query time, and so you can create some scenarios, do some tests on a small data sets here. So this is an example from documentation. You can see this example by clicking on this link. And from the environment, if I show you quickly, okay, let's click on this example. Here is the one. This is the commands. We define the severity, events, time step, the severity type. So basically all the data that you need for your sample data sets. When I click on this query, when I run this query, this will be the results you can see directly in the environment.
Yeah, it's great to play around with DQL, and I think this is also going to be the enabler for lookups. That means if you have certain, let's say, codes in your result, let's say info, and you want to make so like a -1, -2, -3 error codes, and then you can use this to also then get meaningful values as part of your final result. So it's a great addition to DQL. It's amazing how many features are in there. I think we are already half an hour through, and there's still stuff to come. So I don't want to push you too fast, but let's keep going at a good pace.
I was also checking the time in the meantime to see if, how many times that we can cover all these features. I think hopefully that we can fit in the reasonable time frame. So I will just continue with the next one. So we have another command here, the encode and decode functionalities, the functions. So in Grail, again, you can use these functions if you like to just encode binary data and strings into a string representation. This is an example, the query you can find in documentation by clicking this link again. And this is the simple results where we use these encode and decode functions. I think this also explains itself in the documentation. So therefore, I will continue with the next updates on our. Another commands we have is the takeMin and takeMax commands. This command, this function retrieves the minimum value from a list of records, and the takeMax, the other function that retrieves the maximum value from the list of records. I think this also explains itself. So from this query, you can see these values, and in the summarize field that we have this parameter, we take this value as 6 as max, and we take this minimum, for example, this one from this, I think, second record. So that's simply by using this query, you use by using these commands, you can get these values, the maximum and minimum values. We have a new host page for ZOS, totally different topic, but it's available in your environment. It's, when you go to one of your ZOS hosts, you will see the new host page, and you will see the relevant metrics and properties in your environment. There are new alert titles. This is I can say that UI change, maybe. In your Kubernetes workload anomaly detection section, now we change this text as you see here. For example, we replace detect stack workloads by detect stack deployments. So this is a simply that's change in your environment. Therefore, there's no need to show it on the tenant. But if you have any questions, of course, feel free to ask us on the community. The minimum ActiveGate version has been updated to 263. You can see this also in your Kubernetes cluster page as a warning. And please just reach out to your administrators if you don't meet this minimum requirement in your Kubernetes monitoring.
That's good.
We have Slack integration for workflows. So this is a new capability for from new design, new platform that you can enable your workflows to send targeted messages in Slack. This is just an example, but simply you can send messages to multiple channels, as you see here, post updates in threads, format your messages. You can see in this example. So this is a good another update on the integration.
And also, I think we will cover a lot of the new capabilities with 265. We G8 the new capabilities and opening this up to all of our customers that are on SaaS. So I think in the next update we do in May, we will cover a lot of these new capabilities, notebooks, dashboards, workflows, and also some of the apps like Slack is also just an app that you can then use. It's good to mention it here. Yeah. Okay, that's all on the from the release notes. So now I hopefully that we're on time, Andy. And let me know. Please give me a sign if I should be faster or slower. No, I think let's cover the blogs quickly and then we wrap it up.
Okay, great. So in Dynatrace blogs and under product news section, we have two different blog posts I would like to share with you. The first one is that Dynatrace OS services monitoring. We have a new analysis page in the web UI. It is under the host page. on the right side, you will see OS services analysis section if you have OS services that you monitor. I couldn't find a good example, but I think this explains it directly here. And again, it is under the host UI. So you can see all these details about the service itself, the startup type, manufacturer, and so on. Just click on this details button. And to configure these services, maybe this is the part I can show you. We also have a new detection rule builder. It allows you to have more granular configuration in your OS service monitoring section and OS monitoring configuration. And to show you from the environments easily, this is the section. Under manage, we have the settings. If you go to the OS service monitoring, you will see all these rule definitions, all the available services analysis, services configuration, and these are the ones that with the new rule detection, new detection rules. Okay, this is the blog post URL for all the for more details and things written by our product management team. And if you would like to ask again questions, please use the feedback channel for exact this OS services feature. We have a documentation also available in our documentation, and you can click on this that directly navigate there. And we have always our live-in product assistance, and our Dynatrace One team is always here to help you with all of your questions. And so yeah, I think we can continue with the next one. The next one is pretty interesting, actually, that we introduced the new ownership functionality. And as I think that Andy mentioned before, that we also have an observability clinic for this, that's where we discuss about all the details of this new functionality. We can simply create ownership information in the web API, or you can use API or configuration in your deployment configurations. There are best practices in the documentation. Please check the documentation and easily you can see in there. We just set the teams and assign those teams to the entities. So with this way, you can understand which teams are responsible for the entities. You will have a better visibility maybe about the applications, your organization, and your problem integrations, or even for your security integrations. So it's simply, again, if I go to our tenants, from the settings page, on the same page, we have this ownership section. And the teams that we have an example, the Avengers as a team example, are available here. You can see the configuration of this team. I think this one created as a tag. I don't know the exact configuration, but I can also see some text available when I check the Avengers, the entities responsible for by Avengers team here. If I, for example, choose this host, under this host, you can see the owners. The owners button is available on the entity. So when you click on the owners part, you will see the responsible team, the contact information that you need, and the link there for further details. Again, please watch the recording if you would like to get watch the observability clinic if you would like to get more details. And also you can continue to check from our documentation. There is one more thing that I forgot to mention, and I cannot show you on the demo environments. We also have this that's automation engine and workflow actions for you to send targeted notifications to the relevant owners of those entities. So this is covered with all the details and configuration parts on the observability clinic. And this is the reason that I didn't show you any demo environment as well, anything on the demo environments. And to see those details, this is the blog post URL. This is the documentation, observability clinic URL, and as always, you can ask any questions in Living Product Assistance page.
And one thing I want to mention, so if you watch this on Dynatrace University, you will have these slides with all the links in the resources tab. If you're watching this on YouTube, I will try to add as many of the links in the YouTube descriptions just on the bottom of this video.
Thank you. And yes, now we have docs, tutorials, and community. And get back to you, Andy.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for, please do me a favor, click to the next slide. There's a lot of stuff that is happening in the documentation. Kudos to the teams. I know it's a big product and we need to, there's a lot of features that are coming in, as you just saw. This was like 40 minutes of straight talking of just new product capabilities. Check out all of the documentation updates as well. We're not going through the details here, but be aware, we're also highlighting the latest doc updates. Click on the next link, please.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you so much. The next thing is there is great stuff happening in the community. So if you have not yet been to the pro tips, there's like Dynatrace tips and trips sections. We have a couple of our Dynatrace community rock stars that are providing tips and tricks. Here's a great one on how to use the host availability state metric. So really figuring out whether your hosts are actually available and producing results or not. So check out the pro tips. This is just one that I wanted to highlight, but there's many more out there. Next slide. Oh yeah, brings us to the end. So Berkan, thank you so much for doing all of this. This is great. You covered and you collected all the information about the new release. There's obviously only so much we can cover in the amount of time. There's also much more content that I highlighted earlier. But Berkan, I think what we should do is, and that's what I want to do with this, every month we come back and we cover the latest in a particular release. The next time will be really interesting because 265 is a big moment for us because we are making available the new platform capabilities with workflows and with notebooks, with apps and dashboards to the world. So I hope you will be back with me and we'll cover the next releases.
Yeah, hopefully. Thank you very much, Andy, again for having me on this session. And I hope it will be useful for all of our users, our customers, so that they don't need to, they can use it as a central, maybe like the location as resources.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we have lots of different resources where we can use, again, documentation, product assistance, or community channel. Mm-hmm. So hopefully this session also will cover some gaps between these different resources. So thank you very much again.
Thank you. All right, with this, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.